Here with senior Jamie Crouse, who's a native of Belgrade, Nebraska. I'm going to kind of recap what you've done the first 3.5 years of your career, and also talk a little bit about outdoor season coming up. First off, most kids don't grow up and dream about being throwers. Tell me about how you got started and how you got hooked on it.
Well, when I was younger, I played a lot of basketball, and so my throws coach actually threw here for Ed. Her name was Brandy Zarek, and she kind of knew I was a sprinter in high school, and I was powerful and strong, so she's like, all right, we'll try you out. And I threw in middle school too, but I had no idea I'd end up where I am right now, thinking back, way back then.
At what point did you start to think this is something maybe I could do in college?
I would say probably my freshman year, because Ed started recruiting me. Then he came out because he knew Brandy, and Brandy asked him to come out and teach me how to rotate in the shot put. So ever since then I kind of knew him, so it was kind of an option. But when I broke the school record, that's kind of when. I mean, it wasn't the greatest throw, but I had options, either basketball or whatever I wanted to go. And then Ed really seemed interested, so that kind of drew me towards it.
So what were some of your options maybe that you considered, and why you decided on Concordia and being a thrower?
Well, I didn't have really too many recruiters, actually. Midland, Hastings, I think. Kind of went to Doane just to see it. They weren't really recruiting me, though. So I guess that's the basketball. I tore my ACL my senior year, so I didn't really have any looks there at all, just because of the small town. Kind of have to sell yourself. Mm-hmm. So now Ed kind of made that happen.
So now you're listed on the website as 5'8", and you're smaller than a lot of the throwers you're competing against. So how are you able to overcome kind of that size disadvantage that maybe some of the other competitors have over you?
Technique is it's encouraged and forced upon me pretty much, and speed. So in the weight room, try to get stronger and faster in everything I do, in the workouts. So that's the main thing for me. Try to get stronger and faster and make sure I hit every spot right.
Now, Coach McLaughlin, everyone knows is pretty demanding. What is it like to be coached by him and work with him on a day-to-day basis?
It's great. As a competitive athlete, he's always pushing for more and more, and that's kind of the person I was in high school too, but I've developed into a more competitive person, always wanting a better mark, anything that goes for track, school, whatever. So I'm always competing against myself, never really satisfied. It's kind of the nature of an athlete, I think, but I'm always working hard to go for that next big mark.
You've been an All-American 5 times so far between indoor and outdoor. You're also a 3-time GPAC champion in the weight throw now. How does that kind of success match up with what you hoped you could accomplish coming into college?
I think I'm sitting pretty well. I think there's always those opportunities that you think you missed, and I did miss. For shot put, for one, you always I wish I could have been an All-American in that. I never really hit my big marks at the national meet where I need to, so that's kind of disappointing. Could have been a national champion this year, type of thing. It's kind of a sore subject, but I mean, injury prone, that's what I am. I'm always battling injuries, so that kind of hinders my performance big time. So I don't want to blame it on that at all. It's just, it's a mental game constantly.
Talk a little bit more about that. Obviously, you said technique is a key for being a good thrower, but what other kind of characteristics make a good thrower?
Definitely speed. You want to be fast, very precise, over and over. I mean, you're doing the same thing probably 50 times a day. You have 25 full throws, and then up into that you lead with just your technique. So, I mean, it's a very precise sport. And obviously the power, so always working in the weight room with power lifts and trying to get stronger, especially it's with every event, definitely.
As you mentioned, you've battled through some nagging injuries, and you've still been able to accomplish a lot. Talk about kind of what you do on a daily basis as far as kind of number of throws and kind of how you work through it when you have an injury. I'm sure there's some times where you kind of have to hold yourself back a little bit.
Yeah, that's the tough thing, is knowing when to hold back. I mean, being the competitive person that I am, I'm always wanting to go hard, but then I don't know. It's a tough subject, but I try to heat. I do heat before practice every day, icing, doing rehab as much as I can, lifting, and taking a break. The rest period for me is huge.
Is there a typical number of reps that you like to get in, or is it just completely depend on the situation?
For throws or lifting? Throws. He usually sets it at the beginning of the outdoor season. It's usually around 25 full throws. So it's usually for the technique before we start the full throws, it's usually three turns and then 3 one-handed right hand turns. And then you jump into your fulls. I mean, there's other things too. You can do a 2-line, 2-turn, 3 times. There's just a bunch of turning involved. So,
for us that aren't familiar what it's like being a thrower, is it kind of inevitable that you're going to feel some pain throughout the season? And I mean, what is the normal physical toll like?
It's a lot, especially with the weight throw. For girls, 20 pounds, that's a lot of weight and force on your spine. Outdoor, I mean, it's lighter, but it's longer, so I mean, there's more torque there. But yeah, it takes a lot out of you. I mean, you think it's just throwing an object, but there's so much more to it. You throw with your legs and your hips more than your arms, so it's a workout.
Now, you have 3 older siblings, correct?
Yep.
How much impact did they have on the sports that you have played, and maybe talk a little bit about how that shaped you?
None of my siblings ever threw in high school at all. They're mainly basketball, and my oldest brother was a sprinter. He was the role model that I always looked up to for sports. You'd almost call us twins. There's just a few, like 10 years apart, you know. So, I mean, he was my big influence, always pushing me to work hard and don't settle for anything but the best. So.
You're from Belgrade, Nebraska. Population is very small. What is the most exciting thing to do in Belgrade?
Oh man. In Belgrade, or just, I grew up on the farm, so
okay.
I mean, exciting things were like outdoor activities like riding a 4-wheeler or anything, driving around, swimming, tanking for summer activities. I worked on the farm a lot, especially during the summer with irrigating and everything, so I mean, I found that fun.
Now, being from the small town, is the community feel of Seward something maybe that also appealed to you as you were thinking about colleges?
Yeah, definitely. I liked the smaller class size. I wanted a professor that would know my name, that really hit it hard, or drug me in to the school just by knowing the professors. I know on the first day of classes, one of the professors knew my name walking into the classroom, so that was huge, a huge impact.
You're now a senior. What will you miss most about being either a student or an athlete at Concordia?
I'll miss the people for sure. My teammates, the routine. I'm sure it'll be hard to get out of this routine for 4 years. What I'll miss the most, yeah, definitely the people, like I said. The structure, the lifting. It's easy when you have a lifting program set in stone for you, and that's what you have to do. So going out, I'll have to make up my own. It'll be nice, but I'm looking forward to that.
And you still have the outdoor season left. Your specialty there is the hammer throw, an event you hold the school record in. What expectations do you have for yourself as you finish your athletic career here now?
My personal goal in the hammer this year is to reach 200 feet, so about 20 more feet to go, or 10 more feet to go. I'd like 210, but we'll see. National champion, for sure. That has to be my goal. Kind of fighting for it. Set a little fire from indoor to want the national championship. So.